Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Totally Amazing Mushrooms. Before we get started, I just want to send out a huge thank you to all my subscribers. You guys are amazing. I started out with 12 subscribers this time last year, and I just hit 100 yesterday. So, thank you so very much. Merci. Gracias. Spasiba. Grazie. Well, we got a really good show today, because by gum, the rains have come, and so have the mushrooms. So we have a couple of puffballs, we have an earth ball, and we have several little fungal gems along the way. So come for a walk with us and see what we can see. So we're going to start out in my front yard, believe it or not. Just behind this lovely maiden from Holland, we have an earth ball. Scleroderma varicosum. This guy here, first of all, let's just say that do not eat the earth balls. You have to get good at identification between the puffballs and the earth balls because sometimes they can look very similar. As a matter of fact, when I first spotted it, I thought it was Lycoperdon umbrinum, but it is not, because I cut it open, and we have another one here that we've cut open. You see that purpley, marbly stuff in the middle? That's called the gleba. So these guys have antioxidant properties because they have flavonoids in them. They have a bunch of other stuff in them, but I just can't seem to recall them off the top of my head right now. But yeah, these guys are pretty neat, and eventually this guy will explode with all kinds of spores. But yeah, this gleba's just, it's not quite mature yet, and you can see that it's quite firm still. And even when these guys are white, don't eat them. Yeah, sorry, I'm not trying to be mum. But yeah, these guys will explode with all kinds of spores. Millions of them, as a matter of fact. And another thing you might notice is that on their little stalk here, you can see it stops, and they've just kind of got this ball of gleba in the middle. Now the puffballs, they're going to be all the way down, and it may change a little bit of color in the stipe, but not much. So these guys love oak trees, and we're kind of, well, we're probably about 20 feet away from a Gary oak, Quercus garryana, and they also like very sandy soils. And this ground all around here is all kind of shaly sand. So you can see why they're thriving. However, we have many more mushrooms to go through today, so let's carry on with our journey. And just behind the scleroderma, the earth ball, we have a puffball. Look at this little beauty. Just a neat little thing. This is the common puffball, Lycoperdon perlatum. And these guys, this one's very young. It's even got a little drop of little water on there from the dew. So they do have a very similar cousin, and they are Lycoperdon pratense, but they'll have a flatter top. And I've got another one here that I have cut in half. You'll see that this guy, all these little studs, they kind of turn gray when they get knocked off. Sometimes they it's just the rain, sometimes it's me touching them. Either way, when we cut it open, dun, 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 dun. See, it's white. Beautiful. That's what you're looking for. There's no little half a mushroom in there, although that kind of looks like it. However, it is not. Here is the other half. So yeah, these guys at this point are edible. They've got a firm inside, kind of spongy. Now these guys have some amazing properties as well. These guys, you can actually crush them up and you can put them on burns or wounds. They have astringent properties to them, which is just excellent. So again, like I said, you got to cut them open. If these guys are even turning yellow or brown or olive, don't eat them. You are going to get sick. And as I mentioned about the earth balls, their gleba will turn a purpley magenta kind of color. And they're just, you just have to be careful. Puffballs can get mixed up so easily. So now the Lycoperdons, as far as I know, all of the Lycoperdons are edible. So you can keep that in mind. But you just have to make sure you do the proper identifications. And that requires cutting them open. Because like I said, if there's a little tiny shadow of a mushroom cap in here, it's an Amanita egg. So we know now that this one is actually the Lycoperdon. And as I mentioned before, with the earth ball, the gleba does not go down the stipe like these ones do. Now another neat little thing about the Lycoperdon. Lyco means wolf, and perdon means, I hope you're sitting down, to fart. So wolf fart. So I guess the mycologists have a pretty good sense of humor. So those Lycoperdons spurred on my memory of when I was a kid. I absolutely loved wolves. And in turn, I loved werewolves. So I watched all the werewolf movies, you know, American Werewolf in London, Silver Bullet, Wolf with Jack Nicholson, all of them. And then I went to college and did 3 years Bachelor of Sciences and went off to try and pay off some of my student loans and worked at a log home place, and wife and I got pregnant and had babies and never went back to university. But I ended up becoming a voice actor after all of those many different jobs. And my very first job was an audiobook on lycanthropy, which is the study of werewolves. So just a little note about some of my history. But right over here, we've got the beautiful little cat tongues, Pseudohydnum gelatinosum. Now these guys are just the little nibs. They're just starting out. And pop one off here. They're not quite forming their little teeth yet. But you can see where they get the gelatinosum from. Now pseudo means false, and hydnum in ancient times used to mean mushroom. But now it more means similarities to the hedgehog. These guys are edible. And it's one of the few that you can actually eat raw. And they absolutely tasteless. They really taste like nothing. So you can candy them, you can jelly them, and do all kinds of neat things with them. They are a white rot decayer, so they're going to be attacking all the lignin and everything that's in here. They found that they could extract these polysaccharides from the mycelium. And they have had 90% success in fighting certain cancerous sarcoma in mice. These guys will be living on logs, quite well rotted logs or woody debris. And they're just an absolute little sweetie. But yeah, they're a little white rot decayer, and they're just mowing down on this guy. And you're going to find them all over the place in the PNW. You're going to find them on sticks, on logs, on woody debris. You're going to look like they're coming out of the dirt, but there's normally a stick. Not normally, there's pretty much always a stick underneath. But yeah, these guys are just so cute. And they really do look like a cat tongue. Meow. Just behind little dog here on this big old dying, well, dead branch, I should say. We have the Conifer Mazegill, Philm Sepiarium. Look at the beautiful felty top and the beautiful orange color on the side. This guy is not edible, but they do make orange to brown dyes out of them, which is pretty good. But they've got some other amazing qualities to them. So they have the same polysaccharides in them as the cat tongue, and they fight the same sarcoma cancers, and I think it's sarcoma 180, don't quote me on that, I'm not sure exactly. But so they've got that. Now they've also got enzymes that can break down certain chemicals, and they've been working with it specifically on chromium pollution. So the specific compound is chromium 4, which is a purple kind of compound. And apparently this can absorb through your skin and wreak havoc on your kidneys. Oh, there's another little one going right there, just starting out. So by the way, back to my point, sorry. So it breaks this chromium 4 down into chromium 3, which is actually a green compound, and it cannot absorb through your skin. And then they can make that into paint, if you can believe that. And in Greek, chromium means color. So, mama don't take my Kodachrome away. So yeah, so this is some amazing things. Now, where does this chromium 4 pollution come from? Well, it comes from the tanning of hides and whatnot, and also the making of dyes. Now, funnily enough, this one creates dyes, but it converts 94% of the chromium 4 to chromium 3. So that's just amazing. So, a little scientific background for you for a nice little brown rot decayer. Family of river otter, Lontra canadensis. They eat a lot of the freshwater clams that are in this lake. Always finding broken up clam shells on the shore. They can be kind of aggressive. That's why I don't want little dog down around them very much. Especially if they have pups. Now I know we featured the Strobilurus trellisatus on a fir cone in the last episode, but would you look at this little tiny one. It's so little baby one. Eventually, with the mycelium running all through this cone will be covered in them, but we're just going to put you back. And the reason why I brought this one up is I have another cone lover just down the trail. So as I keep saying, mushrooms like to hide. And sometimes you really got to search for them. And as I was searching through this little area here, what did I find? Well, we've got our Scalpium vulgare, or the earpick mushroom. This guy inhabiting this cone. So their main job is to decompose. And this guy's mycelium is going to be going all through this little cone, just like the Strobilurus. You can see the teeth, I hope. I'm trying to get this focused here. Yeah. So it used to be in the Hydenum genus, which is the hedgehogs, and because it was toothed. But after DNA analysis and whatnot, they've put it into a different genus, our Scalpium. But yeah, these guys are really tough, and they'll last a long time. Sometimes they'll have like a beautiful little orange kind of lip around the cap. But yeah, another beautiful little cone specimen. So years ago, these balsams, the Abies balsamia, got attacked by a beetle, and well, several beetles, and killed all these guys. And those are big indicators for finding mushrooms, because a lot of them like to grow on dead roots and at the base of dead trees. As a matter of fact, just over here, at the base of this balsam, we have the velvet pax, or velvet tap, Tapinella atrodomentosa. Now atro means black, and mentosa means hair or wool. And I'm going to show you why in a second here. So these guys will produce a couple of different dyes, and violet being one of them. Pretty amazing. And these guys are related to the gild bolete, and which is also related to the paxillus. As a matter of fact, when I took this guy home to do a spore print, which they have a very light brown spore print, by the way, I noticed a smell, and I'm like, I know that smell. It's a mushroom smell, and I'm trying to figure out what it is. And this was back when I was trying to identify it. And it finally came to me after many, many hours, the smell. And I'm like, that reminds me of the Leucopaxillus giganteus smell. And sure enough, this guy is related to the paxillus. Are they edible? Well, in certain parts of Europe, they have been eating them for years. And there is absolutely zero documentation of anybody getting sick from them. But they still are classified as not edible. So I'm going to pull one of these up here and show you why they're called the velvet packs. Look at this beautiful stipe. All hairy and beautiful. Got quite a bit of dirt on it and whatnot, but yeah. So the gills are decurrent, and they look very much like an oyster from this angle, doesn't it? But yeah, these guys are really neat. They really do have quite a strong odor, and I can't really put a name on what the odor is, but I did a taste test on these guys, on a young one, and it had the slightest bitter undertones and slightly acrid. So I had it on the tip of my tongue for maybe about 10-15 seconds, and I could feel kind of like a peppery kind of taste to it, or a feel to it. So yeah, these are the velvet packs, or the velvet tap. And another neat thing about these guys is insects don't like them. So when an insect comes along, takes a little nibble out of it, it starts this reaction, and it creates osmondolactones. Now, what these osmondolactones do is when an insect comes and bites it, these little tiny Donnie and Maries come dancing out and singing, and it scares the insects away. Alright, there's probably only the Gen Xers and Boomers are probably going to get that one, so my apologies for my bad puns and my dad jokes. Nonetheless, another beautiful specimen just hanging out at the base of this balsam. So this is the Maris mielis candidus, the fairy parachute, so delicate and dainty. You're going to find it growing on sticks like this one. This is a stick from, an old dead stick from the salmonberry, Rubus spectabilis. But yeah, from a distance you'd actually think, oh, this looks like the Strobilurus trellisatus, like what we highlighted in the... Hi, baby girl. Just walking over everything. We highlighted in the last video. But these ones, the Maris mielis, one of their features is if you look at how far apart their gills are. That is a dead giveaway. These guys are white to pale pink sometimes, and they'll grow in sometimes big colonies. Now, they do have a look-alike, Tetrapyros nigrippes, and they're about the same size, maybe a little bit bigger, but they normally have a dark stipe on them. So here's another one that has antimicrobial and antibacterial properties. It's, it's just amazing. They're polysaccharides, they fight against streptococcus, they fight against salmonella, E. coli, and there's several other ones too. And then they're also working on, again, more with cancer research, more fungi. And it's just, I figure if they ever find the fountain of youth, ever, it's going to be a mushroom. Alright, well I hope you enjoyed this little journey of ours as much as I did. Thank you so very much for watching, and if you enjoyed what you saw, please hit the subscribe and the like buttons. Till next time, my friends.